In this video, I'm going to show you 10 habits that instantly reveal if you have table manners and know how to behave with elegance. Hello, how are you? I'm Juliana Santiago and I'm a teacher specialized in etiquette. And today we're going to talk a little more about habits that elegant people have at the table. Everything I'm going to present in this video you can use both at a more sophisticated dinner and also in your daily life. Many people believe that it's necessary to know about table manners only in certain situations when we're in a more formal setting, but that's not the case. We can, yes, use table etiquette habits in our daily lives. In fact, we should do this because it's also a silent way for us to show other people that we are elegant. Because a person who understands and knows about table etiquette, when they observe you and see that you also have this good behavior, they will already associate that elegant impression. They will associate you as an elegant person. And these are subtle movements, delicate gestures that when combined make you present this impression to other people. The first point is to sit with good posture at the table. The posture is a little different, for example, from when you are working in a meeting, at a theater, or at the movies. At the table, your back needs to be away from the backrest of the chair, so you shouldn't have your back resting against the back of the chair. Notice this movement, which is very subtle, but look at the difference it makes when I move my back away. Ideally, you should leave a distance of about a golf ball between your back and the chair, so it's roughly the distance of a golf ball. To maintain an aligned posture, when you keep good posture, you not only eat better because you can handle the items on the table more easily, but you also show more respect, more interest in being part of that moment, and much more confidence and, of course, presence. The second point is to wait until everyone is served before you start your meal. It's not polite for you to get your plate or go to the buffet, serve yourself and start eating right away. It's important that you wait until most of the guests and the people sharing the table with you are also served, okay? Of course, there are situations where you will end up eating. For example, you received your plate before and another person who was sharing the table with you, the kitchen at that restaurant mixed up her order, everything came out wrong, sometimes the food didn't come the way she wanted either, and the plate had to be sent back. So you'll end up eating, starting your meal in a rather isolated way, but as a rule, it's best to wait until everyone has been served before you start your meal. It may seem like something very simple and silly to do, but it's a detail. It shows a lot of empathy, a lot of respect for others, and even in a quiet way, it demonstrates your care for others. So it's a detail, but it makes a big difference. Another detail, which is very subtle but extremely important. Talking about it means speaking with pride. At least I hope that you, an adult who follows me here on the channel, don't speak with your mouth full, especially while eating. So it's not appropriate for you to be eating and then talk with your mouth full. It's not pleasant and it makes other people uncomfortable. Personally, I have an experience like that. Very personal to me regarding this issue, and at the time I wasn't even married yet and I didn't even work with etiquette. But I went to accompany my husband to his work meeting. And wow, there was one person in particular who talked the whole time and kept food in her mouth. And like we could see the food, and it wasn't someone with special needs, a child, or someone with any difficulty. It was someone who at the time was about my age. And I admit I was a little scared because I thought that behavior was strange. So, after I started working with etiquette, I realized that this mistake is much more common than we think. And people make this kind of mistake a lot. What should you pay attention to? If you already have this habit, it's a good idea for us to recalculate our route and not apply this in our daily lives. Because as I said, in our daily lives, we can work on good habits and good practices And when we are in a more formal, professional, or sophisticated environment, if that's already part of our daily lives, it becomes easier for it to feel natural to us. Because if you only try to have good table manners when you go to a party or a specific restaurant, it won't work. Because you won't be able to apply those rules in that specific moment, since you're already used to always making the same movements and having the same behavior. Knowing how to use the napkin is another gesture, also subtle, but it really sets apart people who understand table manners from those who don't. The napkin, especially the cloth napkin, can always be placed on the left side or on top of the plates. Here it is on the left side and comes with a napkin ring. Sometimes there may not be a napkin ring, and that's perfectly fine. Napkin ring. Today it's more of an aesthetic choice. In fact, in more formal situations, it's common for us not to even see it. When it comes to using the napkin ring, you will remove it and place it here. Depending on the situation, the waiter or the hostess might remove the napkin ring for you, and then you will place the napkin on your lap. It can be open or it can be folded in half. That's up to you. Only when you finish your meal, okay? An important note here, do not return your napkin to the table during the meal. It should always stay on your lap, and then you use it to wipe yourself. Oh, and an important detail, which is a mistake I've seen many people making, is wiping your mouth too hard with the napkin. That's not elegant, it's not correct, not for men or for women. The ideal way is to use the napkin and gently dab your mouth in a subtle and delicate way. Discretion has a lot to do with elegant behavior, and this applies to both men and women. Controlling your tone of voice is also another point we need to adjust. When we're at the table, it's not a good idea to speak too loudly or too softly. Try to match the tone of voice used by the other people sharing the table. If you're in an environment where people are already more energetic, you don't need to speak very loudly to match them. But it's important for you to adjust your tone of voice whenever you observe how others are communicating. Also remember that often, especially when we're in a restaurant, we're there close to other tables. And speaking too loudly can make other people uncomfortable, and that might not be so positive for us. So always remember to keep a certain tone, and using your phone is also something we need to pay attention to. I often feel here on the channel that I'm being a bit repetitive because I talk so much about the issue of cell phones. But cell phones nowadays are really a tool that harms relationships a lot, and at the table too. This happens in a very simple way where people already sit down and put their cell phone next to them. It's like there's a cell phone napkin. It's also part of the decoration. This happens in bars, in restaurants, at other people's houses. And I know that many times you might, yes, be waiting for a phone call or be worried about your children. But if you're in a calm situation, your children are there with you. Is there really a need to leave your cell phone so visible or even use your phone at the table? People do that all the time, right? Taking a picture of the plate, taking a picture of the table, and we always have to remember that we're sharing that moment with other people. I think we've already experienced what it's like to be away from people, right? We had the pandemic, which was a big milestone in showing what it's like to be isolated and how negative that is. That's why if you have the opportunity to share a table with someone else at a restaurant, at a party, at an event, make the most of that moment and always remember to show that person that they are important. From the moment you pick up your phone and start fiddling with it, you're telling the person, even if you don't mean to, that your connection's on your phone. They are much more valuable than that moment right there. And that's not going to be positive for your relationship. Now, something that will be very positive for our relationship here is for you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, give it a like, support the channel, Etiquette and Protocol. I'm really happy to see your interaction here. Comment below what kind of video you would like to see on the channel. If you have any questions, something you would like me to solve for you, comment below. I would love to record videos answering your questions and also bringing topics that you're interested in learning about. Keeping the desk organized is also another point we should pay attention to. The desk can be presented to us in different ways. Here, for example, I have a dessert utensil, fork and knife, which will possibly be used for a cold appetizer. I have a spoon that will be used for a soup or a cream. I have the utensils for my main course and also 2 plates, one for the cold appetizer and another a plate for the main course. This one here is the charger plate. It's here to decorate and also to mark the place for the plates which will be replaced throughout the meal. We have a wine glass, and here on the side we have 2 glasses. What's important for us to mention about the table setting: you should leave your napkin in place as a napkin holder and all the cutlery in place when you finish. No, because as the meal goes on. No, because as the meal continues, we have the sequence of the meal. The cutlery and plates are removed from the table, and even the charger plate is taken away when it's time for dessert. So at dessert time, we'll only have the dessert cutlery for the dessert and the glasses. What I mean about table organization is that we need to pay attention when we have a lot of disposable items, when we have straws, so many cups, so many glasses that we're often not even using, that have even been replaced by another choice we made during the meal. If you can notice that there are things there that won't be used or have already been discarded by you, especially in the case of paper, like paper napkins, it's a good idea for you to remove them or invite someone to do so. If you're the host, you'll remove them. If you're not the host, you should wait for the host to remove them or for someone assisting the host to do it. But if you're at a restaurant, you can call the waiter to clean the table and keep that space organized. By the way, I want to know from you nowadays, do you think restaurants keep the tables tidy? Because I feel like many times, some places, the waiters aren't as careful about removing the disposable items from the table, and the table ends up getting really cluttered. This happens with a lot of things too. If by any chance you're not going to drink sparkling wine, you can also ask for your glass to be removed. So making these moves to keep your table organized makes all the difference for you, for your experience, and for everyone else as well. Knowing how to use cutlery correctly is another important aspect that only those with elegance know how to do. I'm going to share with you some basic rules that I want you to understand right away. The first one is that cutlery should always be used from the outside in, so the utensils that are farthest from you will be used first. Next, we'll keep going one by one, okay? Always remember to cut just one piece of protein or vegetable at a time. So if you need to use the knife to help with any cutting, you should do it one at a time. It's not a good idea for you to cut a bunch of pieces at once and make a pile of chopped up food, because that's not appropriate, that's not proper, okay? And these are details that people with table manners really notice. And speaking of cutting, we need to remember that the knife is only to be used for cutting. It's not to be used to help the fork. People have the mindset that we can make these little piles, these movements, and that's not appropriate. It's not a good table habit. I could actually spend a long time here talking about table manners, but I have a course that's just about table etiquette. It's a quick, practical course where you'll understand, in practice, with real food, how to conduct yourself at the table in the right, elegant, and practical way. You'll be able to use it in your daily life, in your usual routine, and also in more sophisticated situations, in restaurants, parties, and so on. If you want to take this training, click on the first link here in the description. I'll also leave it in the pinned comment, and we also have the QR code which you can scan with your phone. Come be a part of the table etiquette training, a course already taken by thousands of people, which will definitely be your first step towards good manners. Now we're going to talk a little about finishing the meal. I'll remove my appetizer plate here, and I'll also leave my appetizer utensils here on the side. I'll also place my napkin on my lap to show how to finish the meal. You should always leave the fork and knife together. They should not be left apart and never resting on the table. Ideally, you should imagine your plate as a big clock. Then you can place them at the 420 or 425 position. First, place the fork and then the knife, remembering that the blade of the knife should be facing you, oriented towards you. And I couldn't fail to mention an aspect that is fundamental in all etiquette situations, but at the table it becomes even more important, of course, which is to thank the people who served you, whether it's the host, the waiter, the restaurant staff, or even a waiter at the party you attended. People have the habit of not saying thank you. I know that this should be normal, it should be a part of our daily routine, but unfortunately nowadays this is becoming more and more rare. And I couldn't help but add this topic here. Especially when we're at the table, people pay more attention to what we say, they're closer to us, so we become more noticeable, and they observe our speech and our behavior more closely. And then if you don't thank the people who helped you at that moment, it looks really bad for you. It comes across as very rude. You come across as an arrogant person, someone who thinks they're superior, and that's not valued nowadays. I know that for some people, having that image, building that kind of image can bring something positive. But I assure you that when people walk away from you, they think it's terrible and love to talk about it. How rude you are, how badly you treat people. Even a waiter or someone who was working there to give you a good experience at the table, so always say thank you. I find it funny how these attitudes can really make someone be considered annoying. I could spend a long time here talking about this. That's why I've already recorded a video talking about this topic. I'll leave it here on the side for you to watch and check out this content right after. Just a reminder that below are all the details about my table etiquette training for those of you who have never taken an etiquette course. You can trust that this, as your first training, will be something very positive and beneficial for your development. I'll be waiting for you there.